first video on my channel. Today, I'm going to be going through a full breakdown of the bass guitar and labeling every single body part of the guitar for you guys. Alright, first up, we have the headstock. The headstock is this wooden part you see that contains the tuning pegs, the tuning trees, as well as the string tree. This is a pretty iconic part of the guitar as it displays the logo usually and is very recognizable. Attached to the headstock are the tuning pegs. These are what adjust the strings. You wrap the strings around these things called the tuning trees, and then you twist these, which twists the tree that the string is attached to, tightening the tension on the string, increasing the pitch. And you can twist it towards you to lower the pitch. Next is the string tree. It holds these center two strings in place and gives them a place to run through since they go up higher than the bottom two strings do. Next up, we have the nut. The nut is responsible for holding all four strings in place at the very first fret. It also makes sure they aren't buzzing against the fretboard and they have a place to run through and go. That way they have like a reference for when they're tuning them. Next up is the fretboard. Fretboard contains 24 frets, and each fret is responsible for a note. So you have the string pitch, and the first fret, second fret, third fret all make different notes. These notes all have a pattern to each other called chromatic, where in musical terms they all go up 1/2 step. So they're all in chronological order, basically going down the string. And I guess next up is the strings. Forgot about those, but they are responsible for, what you fingers touch and what you're playing the instrument. They can be tuned in many different ways, and they run up and down the entire guitar. Next up are these fret dots right here, and these are just signals for you to be able to quickly tell with your eyes where you're at on the guitar. All right, next we have the neck. The neck is where a lot of your hands are actually going to be resting on. It's more contact with the back than the front. So yeah, you want to make sure you have a really good neck. Make sure it's really comfortable to hold before you buy a bass or guitar. You want to test out all these different necks because it's just a comfort thing for you. So you just want to make sure that it's really comfortable. It's made of a nice material that feels good going up and down the neck, and you can fit your hand around it really well. Next up after that is the body. The body is what houses all the electronics as well as the main wood for your guitar. It's what the biggest part is, and it's what the most physical color and stuff is. So it's important for displaying. People have different opinions on body shapes. As you see, this is more of an S shape, so it has a wing up here and here. It's really just personal preference. Some people think it makes it sound different, but that's sort of just a myth. Next up is the pick guard. This is mainly a novelty because most people don't play with a pick on bass, but some people do. Basically, it just protects your wood from getting scratched by a pick. Next up is the pickup. This houses magnets below the metal strings, and when turned on, and you play a string, it's metal vibrating, and the magnets of the pickups then pick it up and send that signal to an amp, which you plug in and makes sound. It takes the input from the guitar and outputs it through the speaker. You can adjust the levels up here. Next is the bridge. This is how you run your strings through whenever you need to change them up to the tuning pegs. They house here, and you can adjust the levels with the screwdriver with all these screws and lots of this hardware. It's really, really useful and somewhat complicated, so don't break it. Next up are your knobs. You have volume, tone, and bass. Volume just adjusts the level 1 through 10 of your sound. Tone is a little bit more complicated. I guess it affects how hollow or shiny your instrument sounds. It's really just something you want to mess around with. And then bass is just the overall bottom range of your instrument, how tall and powerful that is. This also is a plate that you can unscrew where you can see the electronics if you ever need to work on your guitar. And this is an output jack where you can plug your guitar in and run it through this. And this is an amp, by the way. It houses all of these different levels, volume, bass, mid, treble, which is kind of similar to what you have here. So you might just want to turn all these up and then have these here, where you can adjust the levels on this, and then you can really get a good sound out of it. Headphone jack for if you want to play in a quiet room, and distortion, which sort of crunchifies your sound, make it sound a little bit more metal depending on the style of music you want to play. And yeah, that's pretty much a whole starter setup. Thanks for watching, guys.